Could you all please stand for the arrival of the procession?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful occasion. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for coming here today. We're going to have an amazing time, and we're going to experience wonderful graduations and I know I'm not meant to be biased, but it's criminology today. And I know we have sociology, philosophy, and criminology, but criminology that's one subject that I wish I'd done at university. So I'm really looking forward to maybe meeting some of you after hearing how it's all gone. And we also have a very special guest, Lord Lindsay and his wife Pamela, and you will hear more about this amazing couple and their adventures and how they've come over from Australia 3 days ago. So you're doing incredibly well with your jet lag as well. So we're really looking forward to seeing you as well. So I would like to declare the congregation open.
Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, graduands. It is a great pleasure to be able to deliver this oration on the occasion of the award of an honorary degree to James Lindsay, in recognition of his eminence as an alumnus and his lifetime service and commitment to global peace and environmental issues. James is one of us, in the best sense of that phrase. He is very much part of the large Keele family. Inclusion into the Keele family was a birthright for him as the grandson of our founder, Lord Lindsay. But more than that, James, or Jim as he prefers, is part of the very large family of all those who care passionately for the future of humankind and the future of our planet. We are truly privileged today to be able to recognise the great achievements of Jim, the individual, and Jim, the bearer of the Lindsay name and title. I say title because our founder was made an hereditary peer in October 1945, and Jim is in fact the third Lord Lindsay of Berkshire, but seldom uses that title. In January 1945, Jim was born in Yunnan, the wartime headquarters of the Chinese Communist guerrillas in northern China. I must say a little bit about how his parents, Xiaoli and Michael, came to that place. Sandy, Jim's grandfather, the first Lord Lindsay, was the founder of Keele. He had a highly distinguished academic career at Oxford. For 25 years he was master at Balliol, and for part of that time he was the Vice-Chancellor of the university. Lindsay used his talents and his position to support many causes. He joked that it was a happy accident that the road sign outside the Balliol Masters Lodge in Oxford said, "Keep left." One responsibility that Sandy Lindsay enthusiastically accepted was to chair a committee of British universities that has substantial funds to distribute to support Chinese students in the 1930s and to promote a better understanding of China. Sandy Lindsay's contacts gave his son Michael the chance to travel to China to teach at Yenching, an American missionary university. There he met his Chinese wife. Together they secretly supported the anti-Japanese resistance whilst living in Beijing. After Pearl Harbor and no longer protected, they narrowly escaped arrest by the Japanese secret police by leaving Beijing. Michael taught economics at Yenching, but it was his skill with radio communications that was of great use to the guerrilla forces. In October 1942, Jim's sister Erica was born. She was 18 months old, and the family began a 500-mile walk to Yunnan, the headquarters of the Chinese Communists. Then they were allied with the nationalist government in West China to fight the Japanese occupation of most of China. There's an American game. How many handshakes are you away from the president? Those who shake Jim's hand today will be 3 handshakes away from the first leader of New China, Mao Zedong. Xiaoli's autobiography, which Jim and his wife Pamela prepared for publication, relates how Mao held a private dinner for Jim's parents 2 days before their departure from Yunnan in November 1945. And China's current president, Xi Jinping, has spoken about Michael's outstanding contributions to China-UK friendship and the cause of world peace and justice. The homecoming to Oxford was a joyful time for the Lindsay family. Although a letter from Sandy dated 31st of January 1946, kept in the archive of our library, tells how Jim almost crawled into an open fire in the lodge around the time of his first birthday. Arriving in England from high school in the USA, Jim studied maths and physics at Keele from 1962 to 1966. And with subsids, or minors as we might call them, in philosophy and politics, a very characteristic academic diet for Keele in the 60s. And we are here today to celebrate Jim, not just his family. Jim said that Keele is, or has been, a formative influence in his life. And we hope that will be so for you today, all the graduands today. Like many of our graduates and many of today's graduands, Jim did not know how his career might develop after Keele. He had various jobs, including working as a lecturer in physics in Taiwan and as an exploration geophysicist in Australia, where his parents had lived for several years before his father became a professor in Washington, D.C. It was the Australian Foreign Service that gave Jim the chance to show his internationalist commitment. After postings in Chile, in Laos, Bangladesh, Venezuela, he became Deputy High Commissioner to Pakistan and then to Kenya. In the latter posting, he was also Deputy Permanent Representative for Australia to the United Nations Environment Programme. Jim retired from the diplomatic service at the turn of the millennium, but he has been far from inactive in the past 2 decades. He and Pamela are politically engaged in Australia as members of the Greens and with the Alliance Against Political Prosecutions. Whilst living in Beijing with his mother, Jim taught international relations at Beijing Foreign Studies University. Keele has been proud to be a partner of BFSU. Together we teach a joint BA programme in the subject that he taught 20 years ago. In Jim's foreword to his mother's autobiography, he speaks about a quiet story of courage that belongs to many people. His own life, I suggest, has also been a story of determined effort to make the world a better place. This must come from a generational inheritance. His family has been committed to education and public service for more than 150 years, and Keele University is a legacy and an example of that. In retirement, Jim worked in Somalia with a Somali colleague to promote solar cookers to replace charcoal. Charcoal as a fuel is expensive and leads to deforestation and land degradation. The inefficient charcoal kilns used are large greenhouse gas emitters. Working in Somalia, though, although rewarding, had its dangers. Jim experienced a few worrying incidents, including an armed kidnap, but came through without harm. In today's world, we often talk about those who are prepared to speak truth to power. This is something that several generations of the Lindsays have done, and Jim has upheld that honourable tradition. To conclude, I just relate an anecdote that illustrates the Lindsay view of truth as empirical observation. Jim must have been 5 or 6 when this occurred. With Erica, his sister, he was toasting bread on the big stove in the kitchen of the clock house at Keele, the Vice-Chancellor's house where we had supper just recently. A slice dropped, buttered side down, and Grandfather Lindsay observed, "That always happens." A little later, he discovered Jim and his sister Erica trying to see whether that was really true, and reporting to Grandfather, "That's a mistake. The side that makes contact with the floor is random. Doesn't matter whether it's buttered or not." And this suggests, I think, his approach to understanding things scientifically. Truth is not what we choose it to be. In his life, Jim has upheld the values of integrity, justice, and commitment that have been so much part of the Lindsay culture. Values that have become essential to Keele as an institution. At Keele, we try to remember where we have come from, as well as debating where we are now headed. Keele University is proud to bestow this honour and to spotlight Jim to today's students as an example of a life well lived by one who studied here 60 years ago. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I present to you James Lindsay to be admitted to the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Lord Lindsay of Berkshire, by virtue of my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, and greetings to all of you of the Keele community. What a pleasure it is to be here today to receive the honour of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa. Hard to believe that I graduated from Keele in 1966, 56 years ago. My relationship with Keele goes even further back. I often visited my grandfather, Sandy Lindsay, Lord Lindsay of Berker, founder of Keele, in the Clockhouse in the 1950s when I was 5 years old. Keele is part of my history. Sandy Lindsay was a visionary who saw the need for profound change in higher education. Working with local people, he founded a university offering a broad-based education accessible to all. Sandy Lindsay saw a societal problem and working with others did something about it. We must carry on with that activist spirit. While working as an Australian diplomat, I've seen firsthand environmental and social devastation in many countries, including Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Kenya, and Somalia. The environmental changes have been rapid and profound. For example, in Somalia, 40 years ago, there were grasslands with gazelles. Lions were a danger to goat herders. Now there are no gazelles or lions. The landscape has become a desert. My experience has motivated me to become an environmental activist. In Australia, the environmental challenges are obvious. 2 years ago, bushfires of unprecedented intensity and extent destroyed thousands of hectares of forests and grasslands. Millions of birds and animals were killed. Even 2 years after the bushfires, victims of those fires, many of them are still living in tents or caravans. In the past few months, Australia's been hit by repeated floods, destroying farmlands and entire towns. The largest coral reef on the planet, the Great Barrier Reef, is under extreme threat from rising ocean temperatures. Despite continued warnings by scientists, most governments have not faced the tremendous environmental and social challenges we are now faced with. Change requires ongoing community pressure. In Australia, I work with the Greens and community groups on environmental and social issues. All of us must work to bring about the profound changes required. You, as the graduating class of 2022, have a special responsibility to build an unstoppable social movement. I urge you to be passionate, be active in community groups, be an environmental activist, be active in political life, care for plants, birds, trees and animals. In closing, I again thank Keele for awarding me this honour. Thank you.
Graduands, please stand. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I present to you these candidates who have been found worthy to be admitted to the degrees for which they have been awarded. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and a thesis titled In Our Own Image, Materialism's Impoverished Image of Humanity and What This Means for Our Technological Future, Kieran Martin Brayford. And for a thesis titled From Quarks to Cognition, in Pursuit of a Complete Micropsychist Theory of Consciousness, Benjamin James Hibbert. For the degree of Master of Arts, Imogen Elizabeth Bythway Bowen. Jacob James Chew. Haifa Manahi Al-Shamari. Katie May Smythe. May I ask the students who have just been conferred to stand?
Thank you. By virtue of my authority as Chancellor, I admit them to the awards for which they are listed. Many congratulations.
Please be seated.
It's a pleasure to welcome you all here today to celebrate the achievements of our students who do so much at Keele, and will I know achieve so much when they leave. These aren't the conditions for long speeches, well they certainly weren't on Monday and Tuesday, but it is important that we just reflect on what you've all achieved and what exciting things lie ahead for you. And what a journey you've all been on. Your experience at university has been different from most of those who went before you and most who will come after you. You've been through various stages of lockdown, a word a few years ago we didn't know anything about. Through times of genuine fear, it's hard to remember what changes we've all had to endure. It was tough, but none of us had a choice and we had to adapt. As a university community, you had to pivot very quickly into using online education in a way that we'd never done at scale before. To keep going with your studies at a time of such huge uncertainty and stress is a major achievement. You may well feel that you've missed out on things, and there's no doubt that you did miss a lot of the social interactions that are a really important part of university life. This will have been particularly hard for those of you who were in your first year at the time of lockdown. I hope and even presume that many of you have managed to make up for it since the restrictions have come to an end. I'd like you to remember that you've also learned a lot from the whole experience, and you have a real chance to stand out from the crowd in many aspects of life. I'm in no way underestimating how hard it was for you. None of us would have wished that on you at all, especially at the time of life when friendships and networks are developed, which can last your whole life. In fact, when I went to university, I think 40% of my friends ended up marrying someone else from the university, including myself. But the adaptability, the resilience, and the determination that was needed to get through your degree was astonishing. In a life when all of those things will be needed, you've been there and done it. And when things get tough in the future, which they probably will, just remember that you've shown yourself to be capable of amazing things. I also hope you recognise the efforts of the amazing staff at Keele and all they've done to help you through your degree. They also had to change very quickly during COVID, and were often coping with difficult domestic situations, while quickly and dramatically changing the way that education was being delivered to you. Our educators continue to receive national recognition in all sorts of ways. I'm pleased that the very recent student crowd survey placed us first in the UK as judged by the responses of our students, which is an incredible achievement. I'm certainly very proud of our staff and the way they've coped with this, and I think you do indeed all appreciate everything they do for you. Thank you. This staff effort is also reflected in the programme that the university has maintained during the last few years. The opening of the new Harper Keele Vet School, with the first students arriving in 2020, and with a new building the year after, is a huge step forward at Keele, as is the development of the Energy Park, with 2 wind turbines and 12,000 solar panels. And yet, on Tuesday, we didn't just produce all the electricity that the university needed, we ended up exporting 20% of it too. We take our responsibility for helping with the climate emergency very seriously, and I hope that all of you have developed a strong appreciation of the challenge and what might be done about it. In the last year or two, we've also developed the campus further. For example, through the opening of the new chapters area in Chancellor's building, and in what have been described as the most important advances at Keele for years, and being a retailer, I fully support this move, the opening of the Co-op and the mighty Greggs. The staff at Keele are always proud of our students and alumni, but the respect they have for you is even greater than normal. I'm sure that those of you who are family and friends of our graduates are also brimming with pride today, and so you should be. And before we go any further, can I, on your behalf, thank your friends and family, as well as the staff at the university, for supporting you during your time at Keele. So today you can allow yourself to be very proud of your own achievements. All of you have been on a big adventure that will have challenged the way you think, taught you new skills, opened up new worlds, and set new horizons. You will also have undergone this huge transition alongside students, either physically or remotely, from every part of society in the UK, and indeed from many parts of the world. Education is a critical mediator of understanding of other cultures. And this is even more important when the biggest challenges that we face in society can only be achieved through collaboration on a global scale. It is with this aim of impacting the future of society around the world that here at Keele we're putting significant attention into new research institutes that are aimed at addressing 4 of the biggest challenges that we face as a global population. These are social inclusion, sustainable futures, global health, and ensuring that we all maximise the benefits of a digital society. We have literally hundreds of our staff performing leading research in these areas, and I'm confident that these institutes will have a big impact on society in the years ahead. As I've said, we clearly hope that the environment that you've been in here at Keele has prepared you to thrive in that global environment. This background will help you play your part in meeting these big challenges and taking the opportunities that they present with a confidence that will see you continuing the tradition of Keele students having a genuine impact on society. And just hearing Jim's words before really reinforces that. This may be through the professional lives that you undertake, or through the way you live your lives at a personal level, looking after your own health, reducing the adverse effect that you have on our planet, and showing respect and concern for those in less privileged positions than yourselves are all important parts of being players in a forward-looking and civilised society. You have experienced a rate of change that feels unusual, but it is likely that it will become the norm. And these skills that have seen you through the last couple of years will make you very adaptable to all these changes. In 20 years' time, many of you will be doing jobs that haven't even been invented yet. So, contrary to the opinion of some parts of society, universities are not just here to train you for your first job. So, when situations change enormously, the value of a university education is to put you in a position where you can adapt to these changes and thrive in a modern society. The world will continue to change very quickly, but as graduates, you have developed skills that help you thrive, as long as you maintain a personal commitment to continuing to learn throughout your lives. I have 4 tips for you to think about when you have big decisions to make in your lives. The first is to stick to your values. Whether it's a friendship or a new job, you will thrive in an environment that sits well with your values. You may well end up earning less money or have fewer but closer friends, but you will be your best when you're with people who get you and you get them. The second is to work hard. I sometimes get this wrong, but I try to focus on getting not a good work-life balance, but a good life-work balance. And I've never met anybody who wishes they'd spent more time in the office. Thirdly, be kind. As an employer, I get more satisfaction by being kind than making money. Funnily enough, and this is something that far too few people understand, The kinder you are as a colleague and as a leader, the more successful you will be. Kindness doesn't mean you're a pushover, but it shows you care and you value everybody as an equal. And finally, take risks. For me, the biggest risk I took was employing prison leavers to work in my shops 18 years ago. Many people thought I'd completely lost the plot, but I saw talent when walking those prison wings and wanted to give ex-offenders a second chance. Not everyone is comfortable taking risks, but the way we innovate and improve the world is by taking calculated risks. So life in some ways is like looking out of a car window. The way ahead has a wide screen to look through. The view is limitless, with so much to see and soak up. There is also one little rearview mirror and two small side mirrors. These are to look back. By all means, look back at your time at Keele with pride. The friends you met, the knowledge you learnt, and the contribution that you've made. Keele will always be part of you, but the focus is now on your future. This is a university that we hope you'll continue to be proud being associated with, and that you continue to think of as part of your personal future. You now join over 80,000 Keele alumni in all corners of the globe. Alumni demonstrate great value to each other and to the next generations of students through their networks and their links back to Keele. Please keep in touch. This place will always be a kind of home for you. Make sure we have your contact details. Sign up for the Alumni Association. Come back to visit whenever you want, and think about how one day you might want to give back to the university in the same way it's given to you. Your time and experience will be hugely valuable to everybody here. And you never know, you may even meet up with many friends who you were here at university with at the time. In simple terms, our arms are always open for you. So that's it. You've made it. You're leaving here with a qualification that cannot be taken away, one that people will respect the world over, and that will open doors and opportunities for you wherever you want to look. But you now need to make it work for you. You can afford to be ambitious. Indeed, you owe it to yourselves to be ambitious. It will be tough sometimes, but if you don't stretch yourself and reach for what you truly want, you will always regret it. I hope you, our next generation of graduates, will have seen yourselves as part of a thriving, amazing university, a university that has valued your presence, and you can now go out and make a real difference. So with that, can I, on behalf of the whole Keele University family, give you, our new graduates, our heartiest congratulations, and wish you good health, great happiness, and maybe I may meet some of you criminology students in prisons one day, and enormous success in everything you choose to do. Many congratulations.
Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I present to you these candidates who have been found worthy to be admitted for the degrees for which they have been awarded. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Lewis Rees Ullman. Beth Ella Ambrose. Lucy Isabel Anderson. Asha Amy Grace Ball. Emily Lydia Barnett. Isabel Joyce Barrett. Molly Barrett. Ellie Morgan Beeman. Emily Rosabella Bostock. Amy Lauren Bowie. Amy Catherine Brown. Lewis Kieran Buck. Joshua Bullock. Joshua Andrew Burgess. Wei Chu Butt. David Francis Harry Butcher. Zen Kakoli. Zoe Emma Carr. Leah Emma Carville. Nicole Freitas Castro. Lin Chen. Thomas Jack Childs. Sophie Marie Colclough. Louis Bevan George Colclough. Victoria May Crosby. Emma Alice Davis. Deela Durkan. Jaspreet Kaur Devgon. James Dix. Hannah Emily Dunnage. Edward John Dyatt. Charlotte Victoria Ellis. Bashina Rose Evans Coates. Sophie Alexandra Fedorov. Alia Sumair Fernandez. Maisie Jo Flippant. Samantha Angela Melissa Foster. Felicity Jane Grant. Jade Samantha Griffiths. Craig Patrick Grinstead. Georgia Chanel Lauren Grocott. Chloe Laura Gumbley. Emily Antonia Hallam. Alicia Grace Hancock. Bethany Elizabeth Hull. Matthew James Kenny. Mariam Noor Khalid. Samantha Jane Kerman. Carmen Melissa Lay. Winner of the Ben Elman Prize, Bethany Jane Large. Best overall performance in criminology and winner of the Ben Elman Prize, Olivia Kate Latham. Leslie Ann Holly Sasha Leatham. Ellie Nicole Leeson. Gilbert Joseph Lockley. Nathan Manley. Nicole Margaret Sheila Mannion. Winner of the Ronnie Frankenberg Prize for Outstanding Undergraduate Dissertation in Sociology and the Best Overall Performance in Sociology, Amy Elizabeth Marsh. Jennifer Elizabeth Sophie McCord. Imogen Angel May Morris. Harriet Kathleen Mosley. Evie May Mottershead. Christopher Mountford. Winner of the Professor G.A.J. Rogers Student Prize, Evie Rose Newbold. Melissa Nika. Catherine Alice O'Connell. Omoteo Gloria Ogunfowokan. Kieran Andrew Stewart Powell. Alexander Joseph Power. Faizan Sadiq. Alice Grace Seaton. Ruqayya Shafiq. Lauren Bronwyn Smith. Louise Emma Smith. Ella Jade Stanway. Rebecca Katie Stevens. Hunsa Tariq. Catherine Elizabeth Townsley. Emma Christina Eleanor Turner. Joseph James Waterford. Lydia Grace Watson. Savannah Leah Sophia Michaela Williams Gale. Gabriella Francesca Catherine Wilson. Lucas Robert Wright. Hannah Mary Bedford. Laura Bido Cruz. Alexis Breeze. Summer Ann Kathleen Byram. Amy Elizabeth Crabb. Winner of the John Sloboda Interdisciplinary Award, Sophie Rebecca Lee Cummins. Lacey Louise Davenport. Jenna Louise Erdley Griffiths. Rachel Anita Finney. Hannah Louise Fisher. Sophie Louise Hammersley. Ella Hope Hibbard. Rachel Taylor Hooper. Aisha Kaur. Nathan Chak Hong Lau. Hayley Georgia Lewis. Anmol Devi Madas. Megan Morgan Mary McGlynn. Neve Emily Minton. Katie Newburn. Libby Rose Nichols Allen. Eleanor Grace Phipps. Laura Jane Rose. Leah Megan Rowlands Broth. Estelle Renata South. Brooke Shana Stewart. Tess Gabrielle Watson. Danny Jake Warsdale. May I ask the students who have just been conferred to stand?
By virtue of my authority as Chancellor, I admit them to the awards for which they are listed. Many, many congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I present to you in absentia those candidates who appear listed in the programme who are not present.
By virtue of my authority as Chancellor, I admit them to the awards for which they are listed. Thank you.
Let us give thanks on this special day in a moment of reflection or prayer, according to your practice or belief. We give thanks for our university and recommit ourselves to its mission, that the tasks of education and research may continue to be carried out with integrity. We give thanks for the vision of our founding principal, Lord Lindsay, who directed that Keele exist for the pursuit of truth in the company of friends. The university's foundation also drew on the historic motto of the Sneed family, to thank God for all. May that spirit of friendship and thankfulness continue to be fostered by all at Keele. We give thanks for our graduates as they conclude this stage of their education. May their skills and qualifications be used for good in their communities and beyond. We give thanks for all staff who have taught and supported them in their learning. May they know the lasting impact their work has had and the change they have enacted in the lives of our graduates. We give thanks for the families and friends present here and around the world. Let us acknowledge with gratitude the love, care and encouragement that they have given and continue to show towards our students. May we look forward with hope to the future, that the successes of this university and its graduates will continue to grow, that the gifts we celebrate today will be used fruitfully, that the world may become a better place. May I invite you all to stand.
So just before we finish, I would just like to say thank you to all of you who've come here today, and especially those who've supported our wonderful students over the last few years. And as I said in my speech, it hasn't been a straightforward time, but I'm sure that the love and support that you've given them has made their university experience all the more enjoyable. I also would like to reiterate again how wonderful it is to see Pamela and Jim here, and to say, whenever you're over, this is always home for you as well. I was just thinking about what I was saying about the criminology students, about when I'll see you in prison. I wasn't assuming that you were going to get arrested. I was assuming that maybe you might get a job in the prison service or in various parts of the justice sector. But even if you do go to prison, please come to me for a job, because I'll give you a job. So many apologies for that. Okay, so just before we finish, once again, many, many congratulations to all of our graduates today. You've done an amazing job getting your degrees, and we're all very, very proud of what you've achieved. I now declare the congregation is closed.